Good morning. Today I'll be doing the November 2023 O-Levels Biology Paper 1. In this video, we'll be covering the first 30 questions and in a separate video, the last 10 questions so that the video isn't too long. So in question number 1, we'll start right away. They say which structures are both cytoplasm and cell walls. So we all know that only plant cell have cell walls. So we can immediately remove all the animal cells, the red blood cells, liver cells. The remaining two are the root hair cell and xylem vessels. However, we know that xylem vessel is made up of dead tissue, so it does not have cytoplasm and no nutrients. The root hair cell, on the other hand, requires active transport to transport substances against the concentration gradient, so it requires all the nutrients and energy. Therefore, the correct option would be C. Now, in question number 2, which statement defines a species? So, what is a species? A species is an organism in which when two of the same species, when they breed, they can make more offspring. For example, sexual intercourse between two humans will produce an offspring. However, sexual intercourse between organisms of different species, such as humans and animals, will not result in any offspring. So the correct option will be C. Now, question number 3. Why has the star suspension changed color? It's changed color because obviously because of the process of diffusion. We know that the iodine color is brown and we can see that it's changed color from white to brown. So iodine would have diffused from concentration outside, higher concentration outside to a lower concentration inside. What is needed for the plant root? Whenever you simply hear the word root hair cell, there is always active transport occurring 90% of the time. So even without looking at the data, I figured it out. But even after basically evaluating the data, we'll come to the conclusion that the answer is A. Now, in question number 5, we just have to remember the original colors of each of the following reagents. Iodine is yellow-brown, biuret is purple, benedict is red color. When I'm telling you these colors when they're in positive. So they say a person with protein glucose, so it's biuret reagent. The biuret in benedict solution will be positive. It will show red color and it will show purple color, while the others will not be the same. Now, in question number 6, the enzyme catalyzed reactions, we all know that up till their optimum temperature of 40 degrees, which is normally in humans, the rate of activity increases after every 10 degrees because the rate of or frequency of collisions increases after every 10 degrees. Question 7, in which order do its mouth parts pass through the tissues of the leaf? So, through the upper epidermis, the parasite cells to the phloem. Now, in question number 8, nitrate ions we know are required for making proteins and magnesium for chlorophyll. In question number 9, again, nitrate ions will be taken through the process of active transport by the root hair cell, whereas water always is transported through the process of osmosis. Now, in this question, we need to know that how each of the following factors varies with transpiration. The only factor which is inversely related to the rate of transpiration is humidity. The greater the humidity in the atmosphere, the lower is the rate of transpiration. Now, in question number 11, the correct definitions of digestion and assimilation. What is assimilation? Assimilation is basically the process whereby the human body uses the nutrients by the products which have been broken down into smaller soluble molecules. And what is digestion? Digestion is all the mechanical process which begins in the oral cavity and continues into the stomach by chemical digestion. It's simply the breakdown of insoluble molecules into small molecules. So 2 is digestion, 3 is assimilation. Now, in question 2, which organ produces an acid? We all know that the stomach has HCl, hydrochloric acid. In question 13, arabinose is obviously a nutrient. It would be taken by active transport, and glucose will be. Now, in question 14, I told you in my other videos, you have need to memorize the mnemonic for rice and eric. So rice is used for inspiration. There will be relax the internal intercostal muscles and contract the external intercostal muscles. Those are the only option which fits is D. And in inspiration, the diaphragm contracts. Now in question number 15, we have to select the best combination or the best experiment which will help us investigate the production of carbon dioxide. The correct answer will be A. Why? Because if we look at the temperature, you can simply rule out B and D because of the excessive temperature at 100 degrees, leaving A and C at 40 degrees. The only problem with C is that there is no oil, so that the CO2 will simply evaporate. However, there is an oil over here, so it can't evaporate, and thus we can easily be able to check the concentration of carbon dioxide. In question number 16, aerobic respiration, we know what it occurs is that we basically break down glucose to make and oxygen and CO2. So with glucose, the only options which are fitting are B and C. So glucose and oxygen give CO2 and water. Now in question 17, they say that they have shown a graph of the pulse rate with time. As a person exercise, obviously his heart rate will be increasing, so the pulse rate will increase. So when he stops pedaling, immediately there will be a sharp fall in the pulse rate. The only option is showing it is B, because after B there is a sharp fall in the pulse rate. Now in question 18, we just need to know the main blood vessels. Renal vein, we all know, carries the blood away from the kidney towards the heart. It's the deoxygenated blood from the kidney, and for similar, the renal artery supplies blood to the heart, to the kidney. From the heart, it's oxygenated blood. To the liver is hepatic portal vein, and from the liver is hepatic vein. What is a pathogen? A pathogen is a disease-causing organism. Now, in question number 20, the best answer will be that which conclusion can be drawn from this data? With the use of region, even without looking at the data, even if you just read the statements properly, you can easily rule out the most spurious, or I would say that the most incorrect statement. So the use of pet nets prevented mosquito bites. So immediately you can see that this is a correct statement and C is a correct statement as well. However, between these two statements, since they've given us the data, they wouldn't have given us for no reason. So we have to use the data as well. So our and options A and D don't correlate with the data which have been provided. So in option number C, use of bed nets has a greater impact between midnight than before midnight. You can see that this is midnight and it has the most highest peak. So this clearly shows that before using a bed net and after using the bed net, there is the greatest or sharpest fall. Against which type of obviously antibiotics are only effective against bacteria. They aren't effective against viral disease. For example, an everyday issue is viral conjunctivitis. People who don't know, they often use antibiotic eye drops. However, it is strongly prohibited to use antibiotic eye drops, since viral diseases can't be treated with antibiotics. Now, which statement is correct? We see that in over here, a person is vaccinated at number one. So immediately after vaccination, a person will be develop antibodies within him, because the dead antigen will basically stimulate the T helper cells. And the next time the person is infected by the pathogen, immediately his immunity rises because of the presence of the memory cells. Which organ produces urea? Obviously, the liver. The liver is the largest organ in your body as well. It converts all the ammonia and the protein into the urea. Now, in question number 24, what is a reflex action? A reflex action is a spontaneous autonomous reaction by the spinal cord, whereas a voluntary reaction is mostly controlled by the cerebral cortex. So it's initiated from the brain, whereas a reflex action is initiated by the spinal cord. For example, you touch a hot object, you don't have so much time to think that whether I should drop it or leave it, because if there's so much time was available, the skin would have burned by that time. Now, this obviously we know that the pupil reflex, that the ciliary muscles and contract and the radial muscles relax, which basically decreases the overall size of the pupil when the light is turned on. This is the accommodation reflex. Now, which graph shows the changes in diameters? You can see they say after 5 seconds the light is turned on. So after 5 seconds there should be a sharp decrease in the size of the pupil. So the correct option will be A. It can't be why it can't be C, because our pupils are instantaneously they shrink. It can't be like they, for example, after 5 seconds, 5 seconds is too much for the pupils to shrink in size. In question 26, in response to hot weather, what happens? There is alveolar dilation, so that more and more heat loss can occur by the processes of radiation. Similarly, sweat evaporates from the skin. This is correct as well. And the hair erector muscles relax. Yeah. So it is answer. Now, the exact opposite occurs, by the way, in cold weather. The erector muscles contract and the hair basically it's known as goose skin. Now, during which periods is the concentration of glucose above average? You can see in number 3 and in number 4. These are the only areas of the graph where the average glucose is above that of normal. This is the flat line represents the normal. Now in question 28, we can see that oxygen, they made a controlled experiment on one side and a sample experiment on the other side. So oxygen, what is oxygen? Oxygen is just the growth part which enables plants to grow rapidly. It is sort of the growth hormone in plants. So auxin is equally distributed in experiments 1 and 2. No, you can see that the only in experiment 1, there is the light rays are equally distributed away from each other. However, in experiment 2, the plants which are in the front, they receive most of the light, whereas those which are in the back, they receive very less light. So oxygen is only distributed equally in experiment 1. Now in question 29, asexual reproduction, we know that mitosis produces two cell divisions and it is exact replication. So if there are 10 gametes, it would be exact multiplied with 2 and 20. If we were talking about sexual reproduction or meiosis, the answer would be 10 times 4, 40. Now, what are the features of sexual reproduction? Fusion of haploid nuclei. Yeah, this is correct. The two diploid nuclei and clones, these are the typical features of mitosis or asexual reproduction and production of genetically different offspring. These are the advantages of sexual reproduction as well, and the features which make it more superior to mitosis or asexual reproduction. I hope you like the video. I'll share the rest of the 10 MCQs in the other video. So I'm basically trying to shorten the video as much as possible. Thank you.